I walked into my living room and froze. My cousin's kids were jumping on my new couch with muddy shoes, and my aunt just laughed. Relax, Hannah, it's just IKEA furniture. It's not like this place is worth protecting. Red wine spilled across my cream rug. A picture frame I made myself lay cracked on the floor. My uncle stood at my kitchen counter, rifling through my mail like he owned the place. They didn't come to celebrate with me. They came to destroy what I built. And the worst part? I invited them. My name is Hannah. I'm 26 years old. I work as a freelance graphic designer. The income's inconsistent, but I love the creative freedom. I get to choose my clients, my projects, my hours. But my family? They never saw it that way. I grew up in a family that valued one thing: traditional success, corporate jobs, marriage, status, the safe path. I was always the odd one out. At 23, I quit my office job to go freelance. My family thought I'd lost my mind. I moved cities, lived in a tiny studio apartment for 3 years, barely had space for a bed and a desk. But I was building something, slowly, quietly. My family called me irresponsible, immature, said I'd never amount to anything without a real job. My older brother's a finance manager. My cousin's a lawyer. Every family dinner, I got compared to them. Every holiday, someone made a comment about when I'd get serious about my life. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't rich, but I saved every single dollar, lived minimally, ate ramen more nights than I'd like to admit. And I had a dream: own my own home by 30. At 26, I did it. I bought a small 2-bedroom townhouse in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't in the fancy part of town. But it was mine. Every paint color, every shelf, every plant on the windowsill. I thought maybe, just maybe, this achievement would make my family see me differently. So I invited them for a housewarming: my parents, my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my cousins, and their kids. I thought they'd finally be proud. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. The day of the housewarming, I spent hours preparing. I cleaned every corner, arranged a charcuterie board with 3 different kinds of cheese, crackers, fruit, nuts. Set up a little tour route in my head so I could show them everything. The office nook I built, the bedroom I painted sage green, the tiny garden I started in the backyard. I was so nervous my hand shook while I set out the napkins. They arrived an hour late. No apologies, just complaints. The parking here is terrible, my uncle said, walking in without even taking off his shoes. This neighborhood's so far out, my aunt added, glancing around like she'd stepped into a shed. My mom was next. She walked through the door, looked around my living room, and her face fell. Oh, I thought it would be bigger. My brother laughed. Yeah, I mean, it's cute, Han. Like a starter home for someone just out of college. I tried to laugh it off, tried to smile. Well, I'm still young, so… We're starving, my aunt cut me off. What did you make for lunch? I gestured to the charcuterie board. I set this out, and I thought we could all go to this great little bistro down the street after, my uncle scoffed. You invite us over and don't even cook? What kind of host are you? My cousin, the lawyer, muttered just loud enough for everyone to hear. Guess freelancing doesn't leave much budget for real food. My face burned. I didn't say anything. The kids ran wild. No one stopped them. They opened my bedroom door without asking, touched my work laptop with sticky fingers, jumped on my furniture like it was a trampoline. I walked over to my cousin, keeping my voice polite. Hey, do you think you could maybe watch them? I just don't want anything to… She rolled her eyes. They're just kids, Hannah. Loosen up. My dad sat on the couch, scrolling through his phone. He hadn't said a single word about the house, hadn't even looked around. Then my brother picked up one of my framed designs from the shelf. It was a piece I was really proud of. Custom typography, watercolor background. I'd spent weeks on it. Did you buy this at Target? He asked. No, I made it, he laughed. Oh, well, it's not bad for amateur stuff. I felt something crack inside me, but I swallowed it down. Then my mom pulled me aside into the kitchen. She lowered her voice like she was doing me a favor. Honey, I'm proud you bought a place. I am, but don't you think you rushed into this? You could have saved more, bought something better. This just feels small. I stared at her, and that's when I realized they didn't come to celebrate me. They came to judge me. I tried one more time. I suggested we all sit together in the living room so I could tell them the story of how I found the place, how I renovated the bathroom myself, how I'd been dreaming of this for years. My brother cut me off before I finished the sentence. We don't need the whole HGTV backstory, Han. My aunt jumped in, talking over me. So, how was your trip to Mexico? She asked my cousin. And just like that, the conversation shifted. They talked about vacations, promotions, new cars, someone's kid getting into a private school. I sat there in my own living room, silent, invisible, like I didn't exist. Then my uncle wandered over to my office nook. He looked at my desk, my monitor, my design tablet. So what do you do all day anyway? He asked. I'm a graphic designer. I do branding, web design, illustrations for... He smirked. So basically you're unemployed, but with a laptop. Everyone laughed. My cousin nodded. I mean, it's fine for now, but what's the long-term plan? You can't do this forever. My mom chimed in, like she'd been waiting for the chance. She's right, honey. Maybe it's time to think about going back to a stable job, especially now that you have a mortgage. My throat tightened. I felt tears prickling at the edges of my eyes. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the edge of the tub, breathed. When I came back out, I found my brother sitting in my office chair, at my computer. What are you doing? He didn't even look up. Just checking my email. Can you log off, please? He waved a hand. Relax. I'm not stealing your precious designs. I stood there, frozen, while he finished whatever he was doing. Took his time, finally stood up and walked past me like I was a piece of furniture. That's when I saw it. The wine stain. My aunt had spilled red wine all over my cream rug, and she hadn't said a word, just left it there, soaking in. The picture frame I'd made was cracked on the floor. One of the kids had thrown a toy at it. I looked at my cousin. She shrugged. Accidents happen, it's just stuff. Just stuff. Then my uncle came back into the room, hands in his pockets, casual as anything. You know, if you ever want to rent out a room for extra income, my son's looking for a cheap place. Family discount, right? I stared at him. He was serious. My aunt's face lit up. Oh, that's a great idea. You have the space. Why not? No one asked me. No one even looked at me. They were already planning how to use my home for their own benefit. I felt rage building in my chest, hot and sharp, but I swallowed it, smiled weakly. I'll think about it. They left an hour later. Still no thank you. Still no congratulations. Just more comments about how cozy the place was. Code for small. After everyone left, I stood alone in my wrecked living room. The wine stain on the rug, the cracked frame, fingerprints on my freshly painted wall, crumbs ground into the couch. I felt humiliated, small, defeated. I sat down on the floor and stared at the mess, but then something shifted. I remembered something they didn't know. What my family didn't know was that this wasn't just any townhouse. I bought it in a neighborhood that was quietly being revitalized. New businesses opening every month, an upcoming transit line set to break ground next year, property values rising fast. My real estate agent, who became a friend during the process, told me this area was going to explode in value within 2 years. I didn't just stumble into this house. I researched. I tracked city development permits. I attended council meetings online. I ran the numbers. This wasn't luck. It was strategy. And I'd been documenting everything. The damages from today. The dismissive texts from my family leading up to the event. Voice memos of the insults. I also had a friend from my freelance network. A lawyer named Jordan. I designed his firm's branding for free when he was just starting out. He owed me a favor. What they didn't know was that I wasn't fragile. I was calculating. I pulled out my phone, opened my notes app, started typing a list. Screenshots, photos, timestamps. What they didn't know was that I'd already won. They just hadn't realized it yet. The next day, I called Jordan. I explained what happened, the damage, the exploitation, the constant belittling. He listened quietly. Then he said, "You know you don't owe them anything, right?" His voice was calm, steady. "You're allowed to set boundaries. And if they keep pushing, there are legal ways to protect yourself and your property." I felt a weight lift off my chest. Someone finally validated me. Meanwhile, my family group chat exploded. My uncle sent a message. "Hey Hannah, when can my son move in? Just for a few months. He'll be respectful." My mom texted me privately. "I hope you're not upset about yesterday. We're just looking out for you." My brother sent a meme mocking influencer homeowners. Clearly a dig at me. I didn't respond to any of them. A week later, my cousin texted, "Can you host Thanksgiving since you have the space now?" No, please. No acknowledgement of what happened. Just assumption. I screenshotted it. Jordan helped me draft a boundary letter. Polite but firm. It said I wouldn't be hosting events, wouldn't be renting out rooms, and that I expected respect or distance. I didn't send it yet. I was waiting. Then my aunt called crying. "Hannah, why are you being so cold? You're shutting the family out." Gaslighting at its finest. My mom called next, trying to mediate. But she sided with my aunt. "You're being too sensitive, honey. Family forgives. That's what we do." I realized something in that moment. They would never change unless I forced the issue. So I scheduled a family meeting at my house, sent a message to the group chat saying I had something important to discuss. They all assumed I was giving in. My brother texted the group, "Told you she'd crack." They showed up smug, ready to take more from me. They had no idea what was coming. They arrived laughing, casual. My uncle walked in like he owned the place. I'd cleaned everything, set up my laptop on the dining table. "Everyone, please sit." They exchanged glances. Sat down. My uncle started immediately. "So, about my son moving in?" I cut him off. First time I'd ever interrupted anyone in this family. "No." Silence. My aunt blinked. "Excuse me?" "No, he's not moving in. No one is. This is my home, not a family resource." My brother laughed. "Come on, Han, don't be dramatic." I opened my laptop, turned it toward them. On the screen, a folder, full of screenshots. Photos of the damage from the housewarming, timestamps, receipts. I have documentation of everything that happened here, the damage, the insults, the exploitation. My mom's face went pale. "What are you doing?" I kept my voice calm. "I also want you to know that this house, it's worth 40% more than I paid for it 6 months ago. The neighborhood's being revitalized. I didn't just buy a house. I made an investment. Something none of you thought I was smart enough to do." My cousin, the lawyer, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. I continued. "I worked with a real estate analyst. I tracked development plans. I did my research. While you were calling me irresponsible, I was building my future." My dad finally looked up from his hands. "Why didn't you tell us?" My voice cracked, just a little. But I held firm. "Because you never asked. You never listened. You just assumed I was failing." My aunt tried to recover. "We were just trying to help." "Help?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You trashed my home. You insulted my work. You tried to move someone in without even asking. That's not help. That's control." My brother stood up. "You're overreacting." I pulled out a printed letter, the one Jordan helped me draft. "This is a formal notice. I will not be hosting family events. I will not be lending money, renting rooms, or providing free labor. If you can't respect me and my space, you're not welcome here." My mom started crying. You're really going to shut us out? I looked at her. My voice was steady now. No, Mom. You shut me out the moment you decided I wasn't worth celebrating. I'm just finally putting up boundaries. My uncle stood, anger flashing across his face. You're being selfish. Good, I said. I've spent my whole life trying to earn your approval. I'm done. One by one they stood. Some left in silence. Some muttered insults under their breath. My dad paused at the door, looked back at me. I didn't realize we made you feel that way. I met his eyes. I know, that's the problem. He left. I closed the door, locked it, and exhaled. I stood alone in my quiet, clean home. No more chaos. No more voices tearing me down. I walked to the window, looked out at the street I chose, the life I built. For the first time in years, I felt light. My phone buzzed. Jordan. How'd it go? I smiled, typed back. I did it. I actually did it. He sent a thumbs up. Proud of you. Over the next few weeks, my family tried to reach out. Half apologies, deflections, guilt trips. I didn't respond to most of them, but my dad sent a real apology. Asked if we could talk sometime. I replied, maybe, when I'm ready. My freelance work picked up. Word of mouth brought new clients. My designs started getting featured in small publications. I landed a contract with a startup that paid more than I'd made in 3 months combined. I repainted the living room, replaced the rug, bought a new frame, erased the damage, reclaimed the space. One evening, I sat on my couch with a cup of tea, looked at the walls I painted, the life I built. They wanted me to feel small, but I'm not small. I never was. For once, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. I finally understood I never needed their approval. I only needed my own. If this story hit home for you, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Seriously, I read every single one. Have you ever had to stand up to family who didn't believe in you? Tell me your story below. You're not alone. And if you've ever been the black sheep who turned out to be the strong one, share this video. Someone in your life needs to hear it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.